Welcome to a very special episode of Old Drunken Discography. An episode filled with wonder, excitement, and joy, with an extra helping of nostalgia. Tonight, we will be tackling the topics that are gripping today's youth, including and not limited to: is Taylor Swift a country artist? Is she pop? Both? Perhaps neither. Do genres even matter? Any and all references to Mutt Lange that may or may not suggest that he is an evil super genius criminal mastermind who is subverting the populace of the entire world to his twisted will through the manipulation of brain functions through the use of sound are completely unfounded and should not be taken seriously. Any and all evidence presented in supporting such outlandish beliefs are circumstantial at best, and at worst, the drunk ravings of an idiot being employed solely for comedic effect. Seriously, there's a great argument for him being the best producer ever. So please join us in tonight's revelry and be sure to enjoy yourself. Tonight's episode contains adult content, adult situations, adult language, drinking, graphic violence, and strong sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised. Thanks again for watching, and now, let's start drinking.
Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where old friends and fans come together to BS, argue, occasionally agree or disagree about an artist. Today's artist is Leppard, and we're talking the biggie here. We're talking Hysteria. With me, Tim, as always.
Hola.
Bill.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
I don't know why I sounded like Sookie from freaking True Blood when I said that. Bill! Anyway. And Cowboy.
This album makes me, I get so excitable. I get so... That's right.
If you haven't watched the previous 3 videos in this series, go check those out, and you can physically watch as we get drunker and drunker as it series goes on. Alright, so we're talking Hysteria. Take a current look at the rankings here. Bill, Cowboy, and I all line up. Tim threw a curveball, put High and Dry above Pyromania.
Saturday night, baby.
Hit him in the comments down below and tell him how wrong he is.
He's understandably wrong, though, so it's okay.
He did explain it. Go watch that video. He explains his reason.
You guys are wrong. You just don't know it yet.
You're only wrong if you admit you're wrong.
I admit nothing. All right, Hysteria.
Don't shoot a shotgun.
I guess I'll go first this time. What can you say about Hysteria? First, I'll mention the album art. It's got that Metallica. What album was that, Tim? After Magnetic.
Was the Hardwired?
Yeah, that's what this reminds me of with the different.
Okay,
faces.
yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like this album cover. Anyway. Woman.
It's creepy, isn't it?
That's a shame because they really like it and are going to keep it for a couple albums.
Yeah, I know. Where is... Okay, first problem with this album. Where is the opening track about rocking?
It's track number 2.
It's track number 2.
That right there tells you something. Woman's fine, I guess. It's just a weak opening track. Doesn't pack the same punch as the previous records. It's just kind of mid-tempo, meanders. Rocket.
It lets you know where they're headed, though.
It does.
What their target audience is.
It tells you something. It tells you what's coming. I mean, Rocket's a fucking classic. Super fun. It makes me want to go roller skating. There's some interesting tempo changes. Really cool pre-chorus. Drums are good. This is where I never noticed it before, but Leppard are the masters of that pre-chorus hook. Maybe Mutt's the master of it. I don't know, but Animal
I think we have a
again.
winner.
Animal's another classic. This album's like a greatest hits for like the first side, for the A side. Love Bite.
Yes, yeah.
The music gets the
Before
message
the
across.
greatest hits was the greatest hits.
Yeah, I mean basically. Pour Some Sugar on Me. The verses are
Skip
fun.
Love Bites.
The verses are fun, I guess. Goes on for way too long. I could go another 15, 20 years with never hearing Pour Some Sugar on Me again and be just fine. I think Love Bites is probably the strongest lyrics on the record.
Yeah.
Armageddon, it exists. It's a track on the album. Gods of War, it takes way too long to get going, and when it doesn't really go anywhere. That's my low point on the record. Don't Shoot Shotgun is pretty decent. You know, the back half of Hysteria, I think, to me, is more interesting than the front half. Excitable, the lyrics are dumb, but the song's good. Love and Affection, decent closing track. Doesn't come anywhere close to Billy or High and Dry or really On Through the Night. The album just doesn't rock for me. It's not. I mean, the nostalgia's there, but it doesn't rock. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, I'm going to agree with that. Yeah, nostalgia-wise, this was the year this was released was the year I really discovered that music other than what my parents listened to existed, and I could choose to listen to stuff that I wanted to listen to. So, in many ways, Def Leppard is my gateway into rock and roll music, which has, carried me throughout life. So, yeah, there's definitely some nostalgia that I have with, certainly side A, where every song got played on MTV every hour on the hour and on the radio and in commercials and et cetera, et cetera. But even looking at it, like, the first three are great. Women, Rocket, Animal, that's like a pretty solid 1, 2, 3 punch. And then Love Bites, Pour Some Sugar on Me, and Armageddon it all kind of take that punch away. And I can listen to all three of them purely out of nostalgia. But if I actually listen to it with any sort of critical thinking, these are some of the worst pop songs ever released. Like, Pour Some Sugar on Me, I get what you're trying to say. But what the hell are you trying to say? Like, one lump or two?
One lump or two.
And then, yeah, like, I know Steve's gonna get it, but am I gonna get it? I'm not sure. And then, like, side B has always been kind of a mixed bag for me. It kind of goes like good song, bad song, good song, bad song, or what? I guess it'd be bad song, good song, bad song, good song. But like, Don't Shoot Shotgun's pretty cool, and I do like Gods of War once it gets going, but it does take a minute. And then Hysteria it's catchy. Like, that chorus will get stuck in your head, for sure. But the song itself is just kind of mid-tempo. Yeah, like, sure, I was, still a single-digit kid when this album came out and enjoying it on my cassette tape, while I did homework. And it's fun, but even as a single-digit kid, I'm not that far away from being like, you know what, there is much better stuff out there.
Well, I think we're going to be deviating slightly on how we rank this one.
Well, sure. And let's throw out too, of course, Rick Allen has a terrible accident where he loses his left arm and they have to suspend the band for almost 5 years while they make this album. And, I think it says something very positive about the other guys in the band, that they were willing to stick with that and be there for Rick. And I think it's a truly inspirational story, and it says a lot about their character.
Oh,
that
100%.
I agree with you on that, Tim. This album was definitely a true testament to their holding together, not only as a band, but they're like family. They're brothers.
Sure. Yeah. And that definitely, that's part of the nostalgia too, though, right? Like, I know the backstory behind it, and so I can hear that when I listen to it. I also know that this is going to be Steve Clark's last album, and that's unfortunate, I guess. As I said earlier, the Clark-Willis guitar duo is my personal favorite of the three they've had. And so even with Phil in there, like, Steve's still doing some good stuff on here, but the guitars are really changing. And again, Mutt Lange has songwriting credits on every single one of these songs. So they are crafting these things in the studio as they go, getting the best takes.
If you think Mutt made a lot of money off Pyromania.
There was actually a lot of period of time where Mutt Lange wasn't working on the Hysteria album with them. A lot of the songs, the originality of them coming up with the songs and being written was all done without Mutt in the picture in the beginning. He didn't come in until the later part of trying to get the album finished. Before,
are there demos that exist of pre-Mutt Lange, like Def Leppard demos of Hysteria?
Yes, there's 4 tracks out there. Joe's, I think they're on YouTube. I've seen some of them. There's 4 track demos.
I'd be curious to hear that, honestly.
Yeah. A lot of it, that they would go into the studio and just start laying stuff down because Steve was starting to get in and out of the hospital with his too much alcohol, and then they were spending a lot of time in the hospital and with Rick, helping him. So
I'll give Def Leppard that. There was an interview with Joe Elliott. I don't know when it was, but it was like well past all this. And they asked him about the criticism he gets for Def Leppard writing, being a pop band, not a rock band. And he basically told him, like, we write what we want to write, and there's nothing wrong with a good pop song. Basically, fuck you. I mean, I respect him for, like, standing up like, hey, sometimes I want to write, a ballad. There's nothing wrong with that. Piss off. He stood by his ballads, and I respect him for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. For me, this album, at least as I was listening through it, I'm going to kind of circle back to what I mentioned on their first album, where it's unfortunate timings. The reason I say that, you have this album following up Pyromania. I don't think Hysteria, kind of like what I mentioned when we did My Chemical Romance with the Black Parade, I don't know if Hysteria would be as successful if Pyromania hadn't been as successful as it was. So you had that success that they were just building on album to album. I'm not saying Hysteria would not have been successful. I'm just saying it might not have been as successful as, in my mind, listening to these songs, it's very boom, and when they boom, or kind of bust with some of these songs. Like, I won't go too much song by song, as a couple of these actually I absolutely love, and you can bet your ass they're going to be in my top 5 songs. My number 1 comes off of this album, so be it.
Please don't pull another 25 for a white guy on us.
Hey man, give it to me, baby.
One lump or two.
So just how I'll say this: the first couple notes is I was really like, holy shit! Wait, that's this album. This is the album I'm coming up on. As I was listening to these albums first time, when Woman started, like the whole way through, it was a roller coaster. It's like, okay, I absolutely love this song, and then a couple songs later, it's like, okay, this song just isn't the best. Like, it was very boom or bust the whole way through. I could tell they're just riding that Mutt Lange high from Pyromania, really, as you listen to it. Which, honestly, I'll never fault someone for doing something that works to get them more money or fame or recognition, right? If they're allowed to do it and everyone lets them do it, well, then they did it.
Yeah, more power to you. I mean,
exactly.
Sure, but it doesn't mean it's good.
I nowhere did I say this was good.
No, I know.
I didn't say that.
Well, I won't fault anybody either, but that doesn't make it good.
Okay. Let me just say this. If I was to look at Hysteria in the context of rock and roll and music in general and that frame of mind, this album's really bad. But if I was to look at Def Leppard Hysteria as a fun party album,
It's pretty alright.
it's pretty damn good. I mean,
It's damn good party album.
You want to talk 80s
By far.
ballads? Some of the best 80s ballads are on this record. Like, hands down.
Yeah.
For what they are, this is some of the best 80s ballads you're going to get.
Well, a number of these songs were played in movies as like the background or the intro music, for crying out loud.
Yeah. And pour some sugar on me down South Florida with the strip clubs and all that. It got real big and that with all that, So.
Yeah, but even then, a mere 6 months later, we're putting out Girls, 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 and that's going to, kick this out of the strip club.
Right. But it had its time to shine.
I disagree.
Unfortunate timing.
I disagree because I went to a club in Tampa, Florida in like the late 2000s, and we'll get into this same story when we cover No Doubt, but one of the girls danced to Pour Some Sugar on Me, and it was like 2009 or 8-ish, so stands
Well,
test
that's
of
an
time.
appropriate place to hear Pour Some Sugar on Me in 2008.
Yeah.
Hey, stands the test of time.
It does.
It's lasting.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
were you done, Bill, or you got more?
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, you guys really hit on a lot of it. As I said, it's a boom or bust album for me with a lot of the songs. Well,
Which-
I'll talk a little bit more when I rank it. Just a little bit.
What you just said there has me super curious about a later record. That
It's a bust.
I'm curious
It's
where
a
you.
bust. It's a bust. If it's the one I think about, that's a bust. We'll go back. We'll get to that when we get to it.
I'm curious about that. All right, what you got, Cowboy? This is Hysteria, man.
Hysteria. This album, hands down, my number one.
What the?
We're going to the
No,
chart.
you're just gonna talk about why. What talk about the album itself.
We going.
Yeah.
We going.
All right, we rank it. This motherfucker.
All
This
right.
is my number
Hysteria.
one. Fuck everything else.
Hysteria. It was the album that everybody was waiting for. A lot of fans were starting to wonder if Def Leppard was ever going to bounce back because it was 5 years, between Pyromania and Hysteria and all that happened in between. There was Rick
Understandably.
and all that. So by the time Hysteria came out, it started. The first single they released wasn't the greatest choice for the first single of Women, but they released it as a single and it kind of flopped. But and then they released Pour Some Sugar on Me and it blew up. It got major commercial success. I know Mutt Lange told them that he's like, look, he says, I want a hard rock Thriller album from Michael Jackson had all those hit singles on the Thriller album. He wanted to match it with Hysteria, and he did 7 hit singles on one album. And some of the singles aren't my most favorites, like Gods of War. It I have a love for those types of songs where they dig into the mid range like that, like Die Hard the Hunter, White Lightning, Paper Sun. Those songs stick out on a Def Leppard record more to me than the actual singles themselves. Billy's Got a Gun, the closing track on Pyromania, was probably right underneath Photograph for me. It was like, wow. But yeah, Hysteria, lots of nostalgia behind that album. The album artwork is beautiful. My wife, within the last few years, bought me a cover T-shirt that I've wanted, for years. I wanted one of those with the album cover on it. I sported the hell out of it.
I remember your journalized T-shirt.
You remember my journalized T-shirt? Yeah. Oh yeah. But Hysteria, the title track, it was the way that song was pulled together, because Rick Savage is the original writer of that song. He wrote that song all the way. That's his song, but the way the melodies and the way it comes together and the solo, it something about their solos. It stands the test of time. There's not a single time I don't listen to Hysteria and I don't get chill bumps, even today.
All right, we are now finally ready to rank Hysteria. I say finally because it took us about 4 or 5 takes to get here. Sign up to the Patreon to catch that bonus footage of why it took so fucking long to get here. All right. I think let's do a little guessing game here this time. I guessed for Pyromania. I think Tim should guess the ranks for Hysteria.
Okay, well, I think we'll start easy, and Cowboy's going to have it at number 1.
That's a safe guess. Cowboy, is he right?
Hysteria? Yeah. Well, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Final
and
answer.
I think Bill's going to have it at number 2.
Oh, damn, you're right.
Ooh.
And then I think Jason is going to have it at number 3.
Let me check. Where the hell did I put it? Because things shifted around. You said I'd have it at what? Number 3? Damn. Ooh. That's good.
Did I do it? Did I go 4 for 4?
You went, yeah.
Well, you still got to get your own.
Well, speaking of 4...
You could guess your own wrong. Speaking of number
4, as I'm probably going to say from here on out, last.
Maybe.
Might be pulling a Foo Fighters here.
Maybe. Go watch those videos.
Broke up the nice straight row of High and Dry. Or On Through the Night, I mean.
Yeah, I think On Through the Night's gonna. Well, it might shift.
I think it's gonna get a little stagnant pretty soon here.
It's very possible. We'll see. There might be a few
Follows
surprises.
Def Leppard's career for more insight.
There might be a few more surprises coming. I know. I got a hot take coming. I got a hot take coming.
Oh yeah. Hey, we got Euphoria coming up here. That's anybody's game.
That's right.
Oh yeah, Euphoria. That I can't wait to talk about that one. I've got Really good comments on Euphoria.
After Pyromania and Hysteria comes Euphoria. They actually had that as a quote on as a little sticker on the Euphoria album.
It
When I
came
bought
12
CDs.
years after Hysteria.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
I mean, I believe them having it, but like, that's a pretty.
that's a marketing. That's just a marketing.
It was a
stunt.
marketing thing. Yeah.
That's like Green Day saying after Dookie and American Idiot become saviors type shit.
Right. That
Right.
what that really reads is, hey, everybody forget that we put out an album or two after Hysteria until this one that we now want you to buy.
Guys, remember Hysteria and Pour Some Sugar on Me?
Yeah, right. You liked that. Remember that
rebranding
nostalgia?
No, I do have some positives. We'll get to Euphoria. Up next, Adrenaline.
Journalize.
Stick around, like, subscribe, come hang out with us on Facebook. If you're younger, Discord exists. Be safe, make good decisions.
What has 9 arms and sucks?